Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia and Chair of ASEAN for 2025. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. It is my great honor and privilege to extend the warmest welcome to the Honorable Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim at ASEAN Secretariat. Today marks a truly significant milestone. The first official visit of the Prime Minister to the Secretariat during Malaysia ASEAN Chairmanship. This moment is not only deeply meaningful for the Secretariat, but also sets a valuable precedent for future ASEAN chairs. Such high-level engagement underscores the Secretariat's pivotal role in supporting the ASEAN chair in driving forward the ASEAN community building agenda. Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we meet today amid profound global flux, with 2025 marking a year where turbulences and uncertainties are felt more acutely than ever. Geopolitical rivalries are intensifying, while the rule-based multilateral order is under mounting strain from unilateralism, protectionism, and economic decoupling. The world economy risks further fragmentation and technological bifurcation, disrupting established supply chains, trade, and investment flows. Meanwhile, the pace of digital and green transition is accelerating, offering real opportunities, but also sharpening disparities in capacity and access. For ASEAN, these global headwinds underscore the urgent need to preserve unity, strengthen resilience, and project clear direction and purpose of ASEAN. In this demanding and uncertain environment, Malaysia's chairmanship takes on critical significance. Moments of adversity call for consequential leadership, and Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's vision for ASEAN is principled, independent, pragmatic, cohesive, and inclusive, is both timely and necessary. His steadfast call for the region to chart its own course, engage all partners constructively, and pursue solutions grounded in Southeast Asia's diverse realities. Strikes a resonant development, transformation, and evolution. First, in 1977, a decade after ASEAN's establishment, Malaysia's chairmanship spearheaded the ratification of the Preferential Trading Arrangement, PTA, designed expanding intra-regional trade, while simultaneously broadening ASEAN external relations. Second, in 1997, amid the turmoil of the Asian financial crisis, Malaysia's chairmanship witnessed the establishment of the ASEAN Plus 3 mechanism with our East Asian neighbors. recognizing that in our interconnected region, our fortunes arise, and when we work together closely. Also, ASEAN added 2 new members in 1997. Throughout its history of leadership, Malaysia has been a steadfast champion of regional integration and ASEAN centrality, demonstrating a keen ability and leadership to adapt to global trends, while addressing the evolving needs and interests of our peoples. In 2025, under the inspiring theme of inclusivity and sustainability, Malaysia's chairmanship underscores the imperative that ASEAN community deliver real, tangible benefits for all, where prosperity is shared equitably, development is sustainable, and no one is left behind. Now, well over halfway through, Malaysia's 2025 chairmanship has already delivered significant milestones. Foremost among these was the successful convening of the 46th ASEAN Summit in May 2025, which charted the region's long-term trajectory through the adoption of ASEAN 2045, Our Shared Future, a bold vision and comprehensive blueprint for ASEAN community building and regional integration in the next 2 decades. The summit also announced that Timor-Leste will officially join ASEAN as its 11th member state in October 2025, a historical milestone that now brings every Southeast Asian nation into the ASEAN family. Additionally, we successfully concluded negotiations on the upgraded ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, ATIGA, a landmark accord set to streamline trade procedures, remove non-tariff barriers, and significantly boost intra-regional commerce. Amidst today's global uncertainties and geopolitical rivalries, Malaysia has steadfastly reaffirmed ASEAN unity and its independent agency, ensuring that the organization remains firmly anchored in its own strategic priorities, while sustaining constructive ties with all dialogue partners. It has also reinforced ASEAN's indispensable role as a trusted, neutral platform for dialogue and cooperation. This was clearly demonstrated during the recent 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting and post-minister conferences, where Malaysia's chairmanship enabled open and constructive exchanges among ASEAN dialogue partners, of course, certainly under Foreign Minister Hassan. Malaysia has also displayed its strategic foresight in advancing ASEAN external economic partnership, particularly through convening the second ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council GCC Summit and the groundbreaking ASEAN GCC China Summit. These visionary initiatives have significantly expanded ASEAN's economic engagement, opening new horizons for trade, investment, and energy cooperation, while contributing to ASEAN's broader objectives of economic diversification and sustainable development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, these achievements have been made possible through the collective resolve of all ASEAN member states, as well as the ability and resolve of the Honorable Prime Minister Anwar to exercise leadership with clarity, conviction, and vision. His statesmanship and persuasive diplomacy have been instrumental in steering ASEAN's course during this pivotal year, reflecting a deep commitment to forward-looking and inclusive regional cooperation and to maintaining the ASEAN spirit of unity and solidarity. Prime Minister Anwar's distinguished career as a statesman, public intellectual, and steadfast advocate for justice resonate not only within Malaysia, but also across the entire Southeast Asia and beyond. From his pivotal role in Malaysia's economic transformation as finance minister and deputy prime minister to his present stewardship as the country's 10th prime minister, His Excellency's enduring dedication to inclusive growth, sustainable development, and principled leadership continues to inspire and elevate ASEAN's collective aspirations. Notably, the Prime Minister's signature philosophy of Malaysia Madani, rooted in compassion, harmony, and inclusivity, resonates deeply with ASEAN's shared aspiration to place our peoples at the heart of the ASEAN community. Under his stewardship, Malaysia's chairmanship has prioritized deepening economic integration, advancing the digital economy, strengthening food and energy security, and fostering human capital development. At the same time, it has fostered on enhancing ASEAN's institutional effectiveness to secure the region's long-term resilience and relevance. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, as ASEAN charts its course in an era marked by fragmentation and flux, the imperative of unity has never been more urgent. Our ability to thrive hinges on our resolve to stand together, lest we falter in disunity. As Prime Minister Anwar has observed, and I quote, "If ASEAN can hold its nerve, stay open, pragmatic, and cohesive, it may yet be among the last believers in a world that works better when it works together." End quote. His words distill a profound truth that ASEAN's enduring strength lies in its cohesion, its commitment to multilateralism, and its persistent determination to shape a more stable, inclusive, and cooperative regional order. On that note, and on behalf of the ASEAN Secretariat, I wish to express our deepest appreciation to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim for graciously taking the time to address us today. We are inspired by his leadership and enriched by his perspective, and look forward to our continued close collaboration with Malaysia throughout the consequential chairmanship year. Thank you very much. Now I have the opportunity, and of course a great honor, really a great honor, to invite the Honorable Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia and Chair of ASEAN for 2025, to deliver his policy speech. I thank you. Today, we are inspired by his leadership and enriched by his perspective, and look forward to our continued close collaboration with Malaysia throughout the consequential chairmanship year. Thank you very much. Now I have the opportunity, and of course a great honor, really a great honor, to invite the Honorable Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia and Chair of ASEAN for 2025, to deliver his policy speech. I thank you.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Terima kasih kepada Tuan Menteri Utama Dr. Kau Kim Hoon, Sekjen ASEAN, dan para menteri yang hadir, termasuk Premier Sarawak dan Ketua Menteri Sabah, Tuan-tuan Yang Terutama, atas dukungan dan semangat kerjasama ASEAN. Thank you again for this wonderful hospitality. We are so excited that we started early. Very much an un-ASEAN way. But I think it signals a good beginning. So the members of the diplomatic corps who just arrived, I can assure you are not late. But you know, the spirit, the excitement, particularly in the last few days, and the success of ASEAN, and of course the Secretariat, and the Secretary General Dr. Kau, and members of the Secretariat who worked indefatigably hard to achieve such results, that gives us the further encouragement to come and support this venture, and to be happy to be here as your guest, and in fact your team. So thank you again, Dr. Kau. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to be here at the ASEAN Secretariat. For the first time as Prime Minister, as Chair, and it's particularly meaningful because I had time to exchange views and ideas. And one of the few occasions that I attend, that is escalating. It is these shared habits of cooperation, to summarize, habits of the heart of Tocqueville, that continue to anchor our stability even when challenges arise. Just yesterday, in our capacity as ASEAN Chair, Malaysia was entrusted with the responsibility of hosting the leaders of Cambodia and Thailand. In our capacity as ASEAN Chair, Malaysia was entrusted with the tensions on their border had become hosting the leaders of Cambodia and Thailand. At a time when tensions on their border had become a cause of great concern to us last 2 months when we had ASEAN GCC the last China. 2 months when we had this ASEAN GCC China summit, we were talking about despite the dangerous and unique position of ASEAN, the most peaceful region in the world, the most vibrant economically, and then there was this eruption at the border. Of course, it has become a grave concern to us all. But despite the dangerous and escalating situation, it was both vital and possible to bring the two sides to the negotiating table. In the lead up to the meeting, I spoke to both leaders repeatedly, and to my other colleagues in ASEAN, took care to listen to their perspectives, and it takes a lot of patience to listen. But I'm listening to not only as to prime ministers, but to friends, to family friends actually, which is again a unique feature within ASEAN. We can converse, we can exchange, have exchanges as true friends. And of course we have the Secretariat, we have the Foreign Minister and the entire staff of the Foreign Ministry who continuously urge their counterpart to reach an amicable resolution to the conflict. At least a common ground in the interest of ensuring no more lives were lost. Now, with the participation of the United States and President Donald Trump himself engaging directly with both prime ministers, that would, of course, further encourage and help facilitate that arrangement. And then China, their active participation to help facilitate the two sides to agree to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. Now this reflects not only the strength of ASEAN's convening power, but also the constructive engagement that we've been talking about for decades with our partners in safeguarding regional stability. Now immediately after that meeting, I managed to speak to Prime Minister Lawrence Wong of Singapore. Then extensive discussion with President Prabowo last night and this afternoon we still continue to engage with Prime Minister Hun Manet and Prime Minister Pumtam. Then just here, with the confirmation, and no fee was asked, because I used their premises to speak to the Sultan of Brunei. And you see, this sort of engagement is again unique. Of course, I was given and entrusted with the job, but I think I represent the ASEAN spirit, and therefore I need their support, mandate given, and they deserve to be given the gratitude, because it is through this ASEAN cohesiveness that I'm able to speak strongly and urge our colleagues to secure a lasting peace, because I'm representing the 10+1 countries. Now, so I commend Prime Minister Hun Manet of Cambodia and Acting Prime Minister Pumtan of Thailand for their statesmanship, as well to President Trump, President Xi Jinping, and the Chinese leadership for the constructive engagement. I've chosen to invite not only the two leaders from Cambodia and Thailand, but to keep United States representative to my right and China to my left. It was a remarkable feat that not many regions can do, but we did it the ASEAN way. Principal centrality, to engage, give the respect, and need their support to ensure the peaceful resolution to the conflict. Now, the presence and cooperation of all parties reaffirm that peace is best achieved through dialogue, mutual respect, and a shared commitment to stability. This episode has served as a vital reaffirmation of the values that have served our region well. Now, by continuing to uphold the ASEAN Charter and the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, we can strengthen the peace dividend, ensuring ASEAN remains a community of trust, cooperation, and shared prosperity for generations to come. Now, I did miss some countries because I saw the ambassador of the Philippines puzzled why I didn't mention Bongbong Marcos. I'm due to speak to him later. It also reminds us that the qualities which have kept our region at peace, patience, trust, steady diplomacy, are the same qualities that give meaning to our centrality and unity today. I have consistently underscored that ASEAN's centrality, unity, and autonomy should remain the compass in our collective journey ahead. However, we must be cognizant that these ethos are not a right, but a privilege. We must work hard to sustain the face of shifting regional and global dynamics. In a fragmented world, our centrality and unity matter more than ever. The existing international order is not just under strain. It is facing unprecedented level of fragmentation, characterized by major power rivalries, geo-economic competition, and fraying multilateralism. The world now is increasingly more complex, chaotic, and contradictory. ASEAN must therefore confront this sobering reality with clarity of purpose and vision. As we navigate an uncertain strategic landscape, we must continue to be a voice of reason and a resilient community committed to peace and shared prosperity. ASEAN's commitment to regionalism and multilateralism remains the anchor of the region's collective stability and progress. It is imperative that ASEAN continue to stand for rules even when others choose to retreat. ASEAN must be an agent of change, one that has the capacity to shape the global rules and norms to remain open, inclusive, and firmly rooted in the principle of justice. As an outward-looking organization in a multipolar world, ASEAN must continue to punch above its weight by broadening its global partnerships, deepening ties and strategic links with diverse partners is not a choice. It is a strategic imperative. But we should engage as equals. And above all, you must be the speakers and not the spoken for. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in facing today's global economic headwinds, it is imperative that we focus our energies inward towards building a more integrated and resilient ASEAN economy. Our region is home to a vast and vibrant market of 670 million people. The potential is undeniable, but to realize it fully, we must narrow the existing development gaps and forge stronger, more equitable economic linkages across member states. At the 47th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, we will once again demonstrate our collective commitment towards improving the unimpeded flow of goods within our region. And this will be in late October. So good luck to you. Because if succeed, we say thank the chairman. If it fails, blame the Secretariat. Oh, I'm joking. You will have sleepless nights after this. Now, through renewed efforts to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers, we are taking meaningful steps towards creating a more seamless and dynamic ASEAN economic community that works for all, not just for some. So, in my discussions with President Prabowo, for example, we emphasize on ASEAN's extensive network of free trade agreements has long served and has to be further expanded because it has, the trade agreements is pivotal because it was a cornerstone of our economic resilience. But in an era marked by protectionism and shifting supply chains, we cannot afford to become complacent. We must remain committed to openness and reform, even as we adapt to a more complex geoeconomic landscape. It is only through sustained liberalization and cooperation that we can safeguard jobs, preserve growth, and consolidate our position in the global economy. The RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, is central to this vision. As the world's largest trade agreement, it reinforces ASEAN's role as the linchpin of regional economic architecture. We expect the fifth, do you call it RCEP, RCEP? What do you call it? RCEP. I follow the Secretary General. I don't know why it's called RCEP, but then it's okay. I wouldn't argue with this. So it's RCEP. We expect the fifth RCEP leaders meeting to also take place at the sidelines of the 47th ASEAN Summit, thus presenting an opportunity for us to ensure that RCEP delivers tangible benefits for our businesses, workers, and communities. Now, as we look to strengthen ASEAN's position in an increasingly competitive global economy, we must also do more to ensure that businesses can operate with confidence and clarity across our borders. And this is, of course, emphasized in every single bilateral and ASEAN meetings. We can't be talking about expanding trade and we don't enhance intra-ASEAN trade. We can talk about flow, free flow, and being attractive to foreign direct investments when you disallow a curb or do not necessarily encourage increasing investments within ASEAN. So that has been the priority, and I think we need to push this ahead because the potential for trade and investments within ASEAN itself is huge. And as we have seen during the success of the ASEAN GCC China Summit, it is a clear signal that ASEAN is ready to build new bridges and unlock new partnerships. It also reaffirms our shared determination to shape a future based on mutual respect, shared growth, and strategic cooperation. Now, digital economy will be a key driver of ASEAN's next phase of growth. That is why we are advancing efforts to conclude the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement while modernizing our existing trade agreements with strategic partners, including China, India, and the Republic of Korea. These efforts reflect ASEAN's readiness to embrace change and position ourselves at the forefront of digital transformation. Business as usual is no longer an option, which means good governance, transparency, accountability. Now, as ASEAN charts its path forward, we must embed sustainability at the heart of our economic agenda. Accelerating the ASEAN power grid is one such priority. It will not only advance our green energy transition, but also attract new investments, create quality jobs, and enhance the region's long-term energy security. A just and sustainable future for ASEAN is within reach if we are bold enough to act now. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford an ASEAN that is weak, fragmented, or in conflict with each other. Our national fortunes rise or fall with the region. In these increasingly polarized times, ASEAN must continue to harness its convening power to advance dialogue, diplomacy, and strategic trust while fostering space for meaningful cooperation. The journey ahead will be fraught with challenges. ASEAN needs to do more to ensure its cohesiveness in both articulation and action as a clear manifestation of centrality. We must also uphold our time-honored geostrategic construct, absorb fund, double down on ASEAN-led mechanisms, including the East Asia Summit, ASEAN +3, and ASEAN Regional Forum. ASEAN cannot control the global currents, nor can we dictate terms to the world. Nonetheless, we can chart our own future for the better with courage, foresight, and determination. Now, in doing so, we will ensure that the benefits of ASEAN integration are truly realized, bringing value to our people and future generations. Terima kasih, thank you, Kapungka, maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Excellency, for your remarks and speech. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with a question and answer session, Q&A session. Now, for those who would like to ask a question, please state your name and your country or organization, and we kindly request that you keep your questions short. One in the back.
Good afternoon. I'm Eno from National Radio of Indonesia. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. PM. My question is, what we see, what was happening in Thailand and Cambodia. So what we should do, I mean, Indonesia and Malaysia, because we also have some borders, I mean, to keep the borders in peace and stability. Do you have any advice for the people in the borders? Thank you.
See, problem border issues with Malaysia and Indonesia. So I discussed with President Bowo. What should we do? We declare war. So if we don't want to do it, we have to find an amicable resolution to the conflict. And that's a choice. In Parliament, when the members of the opposition Islamic Party started attacking me about Sulawesi and Ambalat, and they said, no, you should surrender, not surrender this. I said, you have a choice. You go to war or you negotiate. Sane people must choose the route to negotiate. And precisely that was what we did. And in process of negotiations, there is, of course, a win-win, give and take, based on, of course, the rules of law. Look at UNCLOS, 1982, look at agreements, look at historical antecedents, and find a resolution. I'm very optimistic, and I think Indonesian president, and for that matter, many of the other countries, Malaysia is essentially a maritime country. We have issues, border issues, that were almost every country. But we don't go to war. We have excellent relations. So work on the positive side. Which particular area of the border we can immediately resolve, and defer those that we cannot. But it should not be an issue that could create differences, and there should be, as I said, sanity in the sense that to respect these differences for a while and not be seen unnecessarily to provoke. And I'm happy that we have achieved that. Now, if it's an issue talking about issues, there are issues. The team working on it, and I am very optimistic that it can be resolved, even if we can't, as we have not resolved in the last 60 years, and it has not adversely affected our relations. We are in the best of terms, there's a level of trust, and all other issues that can be resolved, we should resolve. So I think that should be the position taken, and I'm very fortunate. There's a position taken by all our countries, our neighbors within ASEAN. Hopefully, this is also the spirit in the international community. Terima kasih.
Prime Minister Dino Patijalal from Foreign Policy Community of Indonesia. First, on behalf of civil societies in Southeast Asia, congratulations on your success in mediating a truce between Thailand and Cambodia. So that comes from the heart. Prime Minister, we fully support the notion of people-centered ASEAN community, and we pledge to make that strategic vision a success. However, it seems that ASEAN community is strong at the top, among the leaders, ministers, diplomats, and officials, but not so strong at the bottom, because the civil societies are still pretty much disconnected. And a lot of the civil societies in ASEAN do not know one another and have not caught on to the ASEAN vibe as well. Can you tell us why ASEAN is having a problem or a challenge grassrooting to the civil societies? And would you agree that ASEAN community cannot be solid unless it is strong at the top and also strong and solid at the bottom? And as I told you when I came to your residence at Lawatan this year, that FPCI, my group, we are organizing probably the largest civil society conference of ASEAN member states on 6 and 7 of October. And I'm just wondering if you have any encouraging words that I could spread to the civil society groups that we are reaching out all over ASEAN for that purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. First, in reference to the, at least the resolution to the Cambodia-Thai crisis or conflict, I think we owe it to the leaders, both of these countries and ASEAN, because the cohesiveness and determination of ASEAN and the pressure placed by them. Then, of course, we have the United States and China. Secondly, on the issue of civil society, we are committed. I mean, in the ASEAN meetings, headed government, we have meetings with the youth, with women, with civil society. Now, the contention is that it's not permeating to the lower levels. Okay, inshallah, we'll have to do a bit more to encourage the various levels of engagement, and I think this can be done. But it's a major start. I mean, a good start, as I've seen in all our meetings. We have a special session that leaders have to listen, and I think this will continue even at the next summit, and for the 6th, 7th October conference of civil society leaders or representatives. I'm sure that we will do whatever we can to support this sort of engagement. If there's any faults or failures, you blame the Secretary General, as I said before. But I'm sure he will, of course, try to coordinate that, to instill that sort of commitment and support by governments particularly. So, because of course not all governments within ASEAN has that level of commitment to support democratic practice and what we call the role of the civil society. But I think this can be encouraged, by at least as a policy, all have endorsed. Okay, and to me, it's very critical to succeed, to ensure success of a democratic system. Not only political parties, I mentioned, but habits of the heart of Tocqueville. He also mentioned intermediate associations, which is now being the role played by the civil society. And I truly believe that the role of civil society for specific interests to cater for the needs of various sectors of the people must be more effective, because that renders participatory democracy, in the sense that we actually listen to all. Thank you.
We have another question.
So, may I conclude by expressing my thanks again to Secretary General, to all of you present. I do apologize for starting a bit early, and you have not lost much, but you can read the newspapers and the social media tomorrow. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our program. We would like to thank you for your kind attendance, and we wish you a great day.